What if I told you that the life you dream of, the success, the freedom, the happiness isn't far away? It's right in front of you. But there's a catch. It's on the other side of fear. Most people never get there, not because they aren't smart enough or strong enough, but because fear stops them before they even start. Today, I'll tell you a story about a man who discovered that fear isn't the enemy we think it is. And when he finally stepped through it, his entire life changed. Listen closely, because this might be the story you need to hear right now. Ethan sat at his usual spot in the corner of the cafe, staring at his laptop. The same half-finished email draft stared back at him, the one he had been rewriting for 3 weeks. It was a pitch to a major publishing company. Ethan was a writer, or at least he wanted to be one. He had written stories for years, but they sat unpublished, gathering dust on his computer. The only people who had ever read them were his younger sister and a few close friends who politely said, "You're really good, you should send these out." But he never did. Every time he thought of sending his work, a wave of fear paralyzed him. What if they laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? What if they reject me? And so Ethan lived in the land of almost. He was almost a writer, almost successful, almost free. The truth? He was a prisoner, but not of failure. He was a prisoner of fear. That evening, Ethan visited his grandfather, a retired philosophy professor who spent most of his time tending to his small garden. As they sat under the oak tree in the backyard, Ethan finally confessed, "I can't do it, Grandpa. I want to be a writer, but I can't send my work. Every time I try, I feel like I can't breathe. What if they reject me? What if I fail?" His grandfather, a man who had read Marcus Aurelius and Seneca more than any modern book, looked at him for a long moment before speaking. "You remind me of a man standing before a locked door," he said. "A door?" "Yes. Behind that door is everything you've ever wanted. Success, love, peace. But there's a guard standing in front of it, fear. You think the guard is strong, dangerous, impossible to fight. But here's the truth, Ethan." The old man leaned forward, his voice quiet but firm. "The guard is an illusion. He's only as strong as you believe he is. The moment you step toward the door, he disappears. Because fear exists only in your mind." Ethan frowned. "It's not that easy. Fear feels real." His grandfather smiled. "Of course it feels real. So does a nightmare until you wake up." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment of it. Change your judgment and the fear vanishes." But what if I fail? Then you fail, and you try again. Fear whispers that failure will destroy you, but failure is not your enemy, fear is. Everything you want, Ethan, is on the other side of fear. The question is, will you walk through the door? Ethan sat in silence, his heart pounding. That night, Ethan stared at the email draft again. His hands shook as he hovered over the send button. The fear was loud. What if they reject you? What if you embarrass yourself? But then he remembered his grandfather's words. Fear exists only in your mind. The guard disappears the moment you walk forward. With trembling fingers, he hit send. The world didn't end. He didn't stop breathing. The fear didn't kill him. Instead, a strange thing happened. He felt lighter, as if he had taken his first deep breath in years. The guard hadn't fought back. The door was still there. And for the first time, Ethan wondered, what else have I been afraid of for no reason? Over the next few weeks, something changed in Ethan. He started saying yes to things he used to avoid. He applied to speak at a local writers' meetup, even though public speaking terrified him. He started sharing his short stories online, ignoring the voice that said, "People will judge you." He even asked a woman he had admired for months out for coffee. Not everything worked out. The woman politely declined. His first meetup speech was shaky and awkward, and the publishing company sent him a rejection email 2 weeks later. But Ethan didn't feel broken. Why? Because with every action, he realized something powerful. Fear shrinks when you face it. Every time he stepped forward, The guard at the door became smaller, weaker, easier to ignore. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Ethan finally understood. The worst thing that happened was never as bad as the fear that had kept him frozen for years. 1 month later, Ethan received an email from a different small publishing house. They loved his work. They wanted to publish one of his short stories in their upcoming collection. As he read the email, he smiled, not because of the success itself, but because of what it represented. It wasn't just about becoming a writer. It was about proving to himself that fear had lied to him all along. The door had never been locked. The guard had never been real. Everything he wanted, freedom, confidence, happiness, had been waiting, just like his grandfather said, on the other side of fear. Weeks later, Ethan sat under the same oak tree with his grandfather. "You were right," he said. "The guard wasn't real. Fear was in my head all along." His grandfather smiled knowingly. "And what have you learned?" Ethan thought for a moment before replying, "That courage isn't the absence of fear. It's walking forward even when fear is screaming at you to stop." The old man nodded. "Good. Remember, Ethan, fear will always show up, but so will opportunity. And you can't have one without the other. Every dream worth chasing has a door, and fear is always the doorman. The brave walk through anyway." Ethan looked up at the sky, feeling something he hadn't felt in years: peace. The life he wanted was still ahead of him, but now he knew exactly how to get there, one fearful step at a time. Fear lives only in your imagination. Reality is rarely as painful as the fear of it. The more you avoid fear, the stronger it becomes. The more you face it, the weaker it gets. Courage is action in spite of fear, not the absence of it. Every meaningful achievement requires you to pass through the door of fear. If this story spoke to you, don't just let it be another video you scroll past. Act on it. Face that fear you've been running from, because everything you've ever wanted is waiting for you on the other side. And if this inspired you, help inspire someone else. Like this video, leave a comment about the fear you're ready to face, subscribe for more powerful stories, and share this with someone who needs the courage to take that first step. Remember, the door is right in front of you. All you have to do is walk through it.